Hi there, it's Keegan, and if you've watched the TV show Agatha all along, you might recognize the name of this spread. This is the spread that occurs, I think it's in episode 8, where you get Lilia's backstory. And I thought I would do this as a spread for Scorpios, because I know I have a lot of Scorpios that subscribe to the channel. There are most of the videos of mine that have had like lots of views and lots of interaction engagement. They tend to be videos about Scorpio. And so I was obsessed with the Agatha TV show. If you watched it, please let me know in the comments that you are also a fan. And as soon as I saw this episode, I just thought, you know what, that would be a fun spread to do. I will let you know, this deck is a new deck for me. It's the Nightmare Before Christmas deck. I don't have the box within reach, or I would show you the box. But yeah, these are all with the illustrations. If you've seen the movie Nightmare Before Christmas, you'll recognize some of the characters. Illustrations are in that style. I do just want to say they do not have traditional names for the suits in this deck. So, for example, potions are cups. Presents are pentacles, needles are swords, and candles are wands. So if you are someone who knows tarot, that's how you can keep track of kind of what I'm talking about, because you're not going to be hearing the traditional suits. And if you're not familiar with tarot, I like to be upfront so that you can fact check me if you want to about any meaning of the cards. So again, I'm just going to tell you again, cups are called potions, pentacles are called presents, swords are known as needles, and wands are known as candles in this deck. Okay, so if you're not familiar with the Safe Passage spread, if you didn't watch Agatha all along, I have an overlay here. That's why it looks like it's on top of my hand. But I just want to show you how the spread works first. So the first card I'm going to pull out will go here in this spot. This is the Traveler. This would be you, the person who's listening to me. This is giving me insight into who you are. The second card is actually going to go here at the top. This is what's missing. This is the reason why you are on this journey, on this quest, why you are seeking safe passage through. But this is what's missing. The third card is going to be down here in this area. That is the path behind you. And then the next card over here would be card number 4 that I'll pull. This is the path ahead of you. We're going to move here for card number 5. These are the obstacles. Jump over, card 6, this is the potential windfall. And then the last card is this card which is laid across the first card that we picked out, and this is your destination. Okay, so this deck has been shuffled. You've seen me shuffling it. Maybe one more shuffle. I think to do this, what I'm actually going to do, guys, is I'm going to just lay these out. Okay, just right off the top of the deck. So we're going to have card number 1. We're going to do card number 2. We have card number 3, card number 4, card number 5, card number 6, and then for card number 7, I'm going to put it right over here, like this. Okay? I will tell you in advance for this card, I'm going to basically flip it this way, and however that is positioned will be how I read it in terms of whether it's upright or reversed. Okay, so I'm just going to flip it that way. I'm going to turn this overlay off. 1 second. There we go. And we're going to dive into this and see what comes out. So first card, again, this is the Traveler. This represents you, the person that I am connecting with in this reading. We have the Empress. Show you this card. It's the Empress reversed, representing you, the person that I'm connecting with. Again, this is for the sign of Scorpio, so this is going to be Scorpio Sun, Moon, Rising. If you want to do Venus in there as well, you can. Okay. So what I will tell you in terms of energy coming through with this Empress card is I feel like you've been in a place where like you've been trying to make ends meet, but they just haven't quite been doing it yet. And there's an energy here where like, I feel like the purpose of this journey, the purpose of this, like what you're asking for in terms of safe passage, is really about you being able to figure out how to make sure that you have the resources available to you that you need. I think energetically coming into this, you've been in a place where um you've been quite overwhelmed, and in a place where you've been in like a survival mode. You've been in survival brain. And I think what's happening right now, present energy, is you're realizing that there isn't a way out of this that is fully 100% just you. It requires you allowing other people to help. And I think for a lot of you, that is something that doesn't feel great. And I want to talk a little bit about what I'm picking up in terms of the energy when I say it doesn't feel great. I think for some of you, it kind of like it pisses you off that you have to rely on other people. I think for others of you, needing to have people help or needing people to be able to kind of carry you forward in this period of time feels selfish to you. And there's still kind of an energy of like, maybe I can just figure this out on my own. But I think the purpose of this really is to help you to understand that letting people help or needing help isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think that for most of you, if I said think about a time where you've helped somebody that needed help, for most of you, honestly, you could probably name several, right, where you were willing to help somebody that was in need. And so what I would say to you is, did you feel like that those people that you were helping, that they were being selfish or that they were taking advantage of you? Probably not, right? So it's okay to need help. Like, it's okay. It's okay to need help. Second card is a card here at the top. We have the... Hold on, I have to flip it, guys. We have the Eight of Needles reversed. And again, needles are swords. So, Eight of Swords reversed. This is really about... this is good. Okay, and again, the card number 2, this is what's missing. Okay, so this is you don't have this right now, and this is the purpose of going through the spread. And I actually kind of already said it. Okay, so let's talk about this. The Eight of Swords. If this card was upright, it's kind of where you've been. Okay, so let's talk about the card upright real quick. It's not upright here, but I want to talk to you about upright. What's upright, it's very much being in your head. It's being self-critical. It's overthinking things. It's feeling like you're almost like trapped in your thoughts. When the card reverses, it's actually that energy starting to dissipate. And so there's a little bit of energy coming in here that's about escaping from something. There being kind of renewed hope, new hope coming into the situation. Yeah, it's like it's a liberating energy that's coming through for me. Again, it's missing, right? And that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, you need to be able to realize that you can get freedom from this where you're at. That notion of not being able to get things to work out, having to rely on people. You can free yourself from that. You don't have it right now, right? It's what's missing. It's that ability to see that there is a path forward. There is a way of shifting that energy, getting rid of some of that being in your head, but it's really going to be dependent upon how much you are able to allow people to help and assist you. Because if you're unwilling to do that, again, I'm saying it's not something that you can actually accomplish on your own. So let's take a look at what's behind you. This is the path behind. So the Queen of Potions, also reversed. Lots of reversals going on here with the cards. So again, Potions are cups. So this is the Queen of Cups, reversed. The Queen of Cups, yeah, this is the path behind you. Because energy for this card is very much about feeling insecure. It can represent energy where there's not a lot of supportive, loving, nurturing energy that's happening. It can be quite cold. It can feel like there's energy with this card that I'm picking up on that almost feels like smothering. And I don't think that that is like smothering, like you smothering someone or you being smothered by someone. It just feels like the path behind you felt smothering. It felt like you couldn't breathe. It felt like the weight, like what I'm feeling literally is like a weight on my chest. And just feeling like I can't breathe. I'm so stressed. I'm so overwhelmed. And I don't feel like I have support. I don't feel like I have, like I feel like I don't have anyone who's able to understand. I feel like I'm just stuck in pain and disappointment, and there's no way for me to get any sort of relief or support. Again, that's the path behind you. Okay, so these three cards so far are telling a fairly consistent story. Now, what I hope with this card, again, this is the path ahead. I'm hoping that this is a little bit of a different story, right? So the path ahead, we have the devil. This card's coming out upright. I'll just show you. I think this is a super cute illustration too on this card. Let's talk about this though as the path ahead. So this card represents things like temptation, seduction. It's all of the things that we're told are bad, and we shouldn't really go after them. But what I have to say is sometimes we need to chase after these things, and sometimes it's best that we practice moderation, and other times we need to kind of throw that out too. The path ahead for you represents a place where you need to really be focusing on what it is that brings you pleasure, what it is that brings you happiness, what it is that you desire. The literal meaning of this card is energy such as like addictions and envy and greed. And while that's true, I feel like what this card is actually saying is that you have to be a little bit more selfish. You have to be a little bit more focused on the things that you want and the things that you're trying to go after and the things that you're trying to attain, rather than being stuck in this energy of the things that you lack or the things that you don't have or the things that you couldn't manage to manifest. The path ahead is going to feel, compared to this, it's going to feel fairly selfish, and it's also going to feel a little hedonistic. But it feels like it's purposeful, and I'm doing this reading for Scorpios, right? And so Scorpios, this is almost like a sweet spot for you. Those darker, deeper, taboo, forbidden types of explorations of ourselves and of others, that's really what is ahead for you. And it feels like the more that you can dive into that, the more that you can embrace that, not feel shame about it, not feel like not judge yourself, but also not fear judgment from other people, and just really settle into it. It's actually what Source is asking you to do. I will say, because I do know that there are other readers that watch me, this card, the Devil card, it's actually a better card when it's reversed. But I think before we could get to that energy of this card reversed, where there's actually like deep trauma being healed, or a place where like we're really releasing a lot of stuff we need to release, it's almost like we have to go through this first before we can get to that. Okay? So, card number 5, these are the obstacles. The Magician reversed. Okay. I will tell you, this particular card reversed is one of the cards that I, just as a reader, I personally associate this card with like a narcissistic type of person. And I because of that, I just want to mention it. Okay. I might come back to that. If I'm okay, I'm just gonna be really honest. Okay, I feel like narcissist and narcissism and narcissistic abuse and narcissistic personality disorder, I just think those became so played out. And I think that everyone thinks that they've dated a narcissist. Everyone thinks that their boss or their mom or their ex is a narcissist. And I think it's really important to distinguish between things that might be narcissistic behaviors, actions, habits, versus someone who actually has a personality disorder. Okay, so for me, this can represent both, But what I'm talking about here primarily is just kind of like narcissism. And it's tied in more with this, which is why I just wanted to give that clarifier. Okay. The obstacle that I'm picking up on here is that it's almost like you feel like if you embrace this kind of that hedonistic taboo exploration of yourself, that it is kind of a narcissistic way of trying to go through this, and it almost feels like it doesn't fit the goal, which is getting more stability and having more like control over your life. Like it's almost like the obstacle for you is that that's how you're going to judge it. Okay, I want to talk just about like this card energetically. The other thing that happens with this card when it's reversed, it's a sign that someone is cut off from their intuition. Their energy is scattered and dissipated. It's not focused. It's not grounded. It's not something that they've pulled inward that they're taking ownership of. And it's also kind of tied to this, whereas with the Empress reversed, we were talking about like not feeling like you had the resources that you wanted. When the Magician is reversed, it can represent energy where we're wasting the resources that we have been given. Okay, so if you think about this as like a cycle, right, it makes sense why this card would be showing up as an obstacle. It's an obstacle for this. It's an obstacle for this. So advice to this placement in terms of obstacles and how you can avoid getting trapped in this and how you can avoid having this be something that derails you is really about trying your best to be more like the Magician upright, so that this obstacle is no longer an obstacle and it's actually something that you're utilizing to help propel you through it so you don't get stuck here in this process. So the Magician card, when it's upright, is very focused. It's very attuned to its intuition. It's about creation. It's confidence. It's strength. It's taking what it is that we want to exist and really manifesting that and creating that in our reality. So that's where you want to aim for. But your tendency, and the reason this card is showing up as an obstacle, is that that's not your default right now. Especially when you're trying to explore this, your default might be to like not trust your intuition, to not really take the things that you learn from this and realize that they are resources and they are insight and utilize them. It might be, it's very possible actually, I'm not gonna say it might be, it's very possible that you might not learn the lessons you need to learn or walk away with things and see them as being beneficial to you when they actually are. This is the potential windfall of this journey. The King of Candles, which is reversed. So again, candles are wands in this deck. I gotta be honest with you, okay? The King of Wands reverse is not a great card for me. It usually just represents someone who is like, I don't know. There's some energy of narcissism attached with the King of Wands when it's reversed. There could be some arrogance that comes through with it. It's a very non-committal type of energy. There's issues with like sex addiction and lust. But again, because we have this, right? We have the Devil showing is in terms of like the path ahead. The potential windfall for you might actually be that you you learn how to be a little bit more selfish. You learn how to be a little bit more focused on yourself. You learn how to be a little bit tougher. You learn how to set some stricter boundaries. You learn how to maybe not have as much shame when it comes to what it is that you want sexually or what you desire sexually. Okay? Because again, even though this card, the King of Wands or the King of Candles reversed, the meaning of that card might not be the best. If it's the potential windfall for you in this spread, then you have to look at that card and say, okay, well, how could this be a benefit to someone, right? How could these things that, if I was talking to you about a potential, romantic partner and this card came out, I would say, well, they're really just kind of looking for casual stuff. They're not committing. They're not ready to commit. They don't want to commit. They are probably very focused on themselves. They aren't going to be willing to compromise a lot. They could very well have, sex addiction, or they might just be in it for sex with no emotion, right? So if I'm describing a romantic partner, maybe that's not best. But if I'm looking at someone who historically has maybe not felt like they were able to prioritize themselves, they felt like maybe they weren't able to really be themselves, express themselves, know who they are, if they are going through this journey and they get to this and they really allow this, which is the path ahead, to be fully explored, this devil card energy, and they're mindful of making sure that they're using those lessons, they're using those things that they learned to make sure that they don't get stuck, it actually makes sense why this might be the windfall. It doesn't mean you have to stay here forever, but what I want to point out is that this almost feels like the shadow side that this person has been avoiding. This is the thing that they don't want to accept is true about them. They don't want to accept that they could be this type of person. They don't want to ever have someone describe them in this way. And when you have that much of a reaction to your shadow and you're pushing that much against it, it's almost like the shadow is in control of you, right? And so if you can learn to embrace this, integrate it, be okay with it, and realize I don't have to be this all the time, but I have the potential to be this. And there are times in my life when being this is actually more beneficial to me than being like a King of Cups energy, which is much more aligned with Scorpio as a sign. Okay? So, not the best card, but in this placement, it's actually pretty good in terms of what you might gain from this. Because I think for most of you listening, owning how I describe this card might feel like a stretch for you. But that's really what this journey is about. So then the last card that we have here is the destination. And again, I said I was just going to flip it this way and see what we got. So that's what we're going to do. This is the 9 of Needles. It's reversed. I'm just going to hold on to it for a minute before I put it down so I don't forget that it's reversed here. Again, needles are swords in this deck. This is not a bad card at all. So the destination for you after going through this journey is really you landing in a place where you're starting to heal. You're starting to get some relief. You're starting to come out of this torment. And I think up here this was this is 7 or 8. Let me look. See 8. We have this movement from what's missing, right? And we had that 8 of Swords. And again, that's where I was talking about, having that hope, having that feeling like, you're in a place where you're actually starting to get some space between you and all the anguish, right? That's what's missing. The destination is actually being in a place where you possess that. You've gone from this 8 to the 9. And the 9 of Swords reversed is all about resting and recovering after a long period of strife, being in a situation where we're not being so attacked by our mind, we're not being so critical of ourselves, that our mind has cleared. Our mind has cleared to the point that we're actually able to think. We're actually able to see some hope arise from a situation. We're actually able to think about the future and to see it maybe not sucking. This is a good place to end up because it's also a good place to start, right? So if I was looking at this and this card, right, became what was behind you, right? Or this card represented you in the present, being in a place where you've gotten through this period of trial and tribulation. You've come out the other side of it. You survived it. You learned the lessons. You figured out more stuff about yourself. You learned maybe how to protect yourself a little bit more, not be as wide open. You've learned that there are times where you need to be a little bit non-committal to certain things, certain people, and now you're in a place where you're healing, you're recovering, and you're ready to see what's next. It's actually a really good place to be. I do want to grab this oracle deck. I just want to grab one card for you to wrap this up. This is advice for you moving forward. I do just want to say while I'm shuffling this, if you're interested in exploring this or any other issue more deeply with me, you can book on my website. It's keaghankirk.com. You can either do /schedule if you know what you want. If you're curious about the different types of tarot readings that I do, how long they are, how they work, the pricing on those, you can do keaghankirk.com/tarot, and there's more information about that. Everything is through my website, so you can pick what you want. You can pay, you can choose the date and the time for that reading. It's all through the website. So, what advice do you want to share for Scorpio specific to this reading? The universe works fast when I'm having fun. It's this. The path ahead. You have to focus on having fun. You have to focus on the things that bring you joy. The things that turn you on, the things that make you feel like life is worth living, the things that excite you, the things that might feel a bit selfish for you to go after them, but that's really what's most important. Because when you're in that energy of not really focusing on like the pain and the challenge and things that bring you down, and you're not being that moody Scorpio that's kind of trapped in the depths of the bad feelings, right? Very often Scorpios forget that they have the capacity to be just as extreme in their emotions towards the positive, right? A lot of Scorpios, especially if they haven't done a lot of spiritual work and trying to evolve into some of those higher vibrational expressions of the sign of Scorpio, very often they only allow themselves to feel intense anger or intense betrayal or intense sadness or intense depression or intense regret. They get very much in the cycle of only allowing intensity to come through when it's being expressed as one of those heavier, lower vibration energies. But we can also have that same capacity to be just as extreme and just as intense in things like joy and pleasure and love and happiness. Okay? And when we're in those, because they are so intense and we're embracing them so much and so deeply, that's when the universe can really start to work really fast to get us to where we want to go. Okay? So, biggest takeaway from this reading for you, Scorpio, is that even if it feels like it's counterintuitive, even if it feels like it's not what you need to do, your main priority right now should be figuring out how you can be happy, how you can feel excited about life, figuring out the things that make you I don't know, like I just keep seeing like Catwoman from the 90s, like the Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman, where she just embraces that like sexual breaking the rules, not following what she had been, shedding the self completely and embracing this harder, sharper edged version of you. And when you do that, you realize that that's really where you start to have fun being who you are. And it leads you out of this into a place where you're actually at peace and you have some rest. So, Scorpios, I hope you enjoyed this reading. I love hearing from you guys, so please leave comments. If you know other Scorpios, share the video with them. Again, my website, keaghankirk.com, is where you can find information about me, the readings, book, schedule. There's even a donate button if you just want to say thanks for this reading. All of that's very appreciated. And I will be doing more Scorpio readings. I will also do some for other signs. But I do know that my channel is very heavily populated by Scorpios, which I love because I'm a Scorpio myself. So, thanks for watching. please leave me a comment and let me know what you think.